"Have you no eyes in your head?" shouted Monkey. "The man of Tang is my master. I am his disciple. And no man of Tang, or Sugar Man, or Honey Man either. I am the great sage equal to heaven. You people here know me well enough, and I have seen you before." "Where have you seen me?" he asked. "Didn't you, when you were small, cut a brushwood from in front of my face and gather the herbs that grew on my cheek?" "The stone monkey and the stone casket," gasped the old man. "I see that you are a little like him, but how did you get out?" Monkey told the whole story, and the old man at once bowed before him, and asked them both to step aside. "Great sage, how old are you?" The monkey said Monkey. "130, said the old man. "Then you are young enough to be my great-great-grandson at least," said Monkey. "I have no idea when I was born, but I was under that mountain for 500 years. "True enough," said the old man. "I remember my grandfather telling me that this mountain was dropped from heaven in order to trap a monkey divinity. And you say that you have only just got out? When I used to see you in my childhood there was grass growing out of your head and mud on your cheeks. I was not at all afraid of you then. Now there is no mud on your cheeks and no grass on your head. You look thinner, and with that tiger skin at your waist, who would know that you weren't a devil?" "I don't want to give you all a lot of trouble," said Monkey presently, "but it is 500 years since I last washed. Could you let us have a little hot water? I am sure my master would be glad to wash too." When they had both washed, they sat down in front of the lamp. "One more request," said Monkey. "Could you lend me a needle and thread?" By all means, said the old man, and he told his old wife to bring them. Just then Monkey caught sight of a white shirt that Tripitaka had taken off when he washed and not put on again. He snatched it up and put it on. Then he wringed out the tiger skin, sewed it up in one piece, made a horse-face fold, and put it round his waist again. Fastening the rattan belt, presenting himself to Tripitaka, he said, "How do you like me in this garb? Is it an improvement?" "Splendid," said Tripitaka. "Now you really do look like a pilgrim." "Disciple," added Tripitaka. "If you don't mind accepting an off-cast, you can have that shirt for your own." They rose early next day, and the old man brought them washing water and breakfast. Then they set out again on their way, lodging late and starting early for many days. One morning they suddenly heard a cry, and 6 men rushed out at them from the roadside, all armed with picks and swords. "Halt, priests," they cried. "We want your horse, and your packs, and quickly too, or you will not escape with your life." Tripitaka, in great alarm, slid down from his horse and stood there speechless. "Don't worry," said Monkey. "This only means more clothes and traveling money for us." "Monkey, are you deaf?" said Tripitaka. "They ordered us to surrender the horse and luggage, and you talk of getting clothes and money from them." "You keep an eye on the packs and the horse," said Monkey, "while I settle matters with them. You'll soon see what I mean. They are very strong men, and there are 6 of them." Said Tripitaka, "How can a little fellow like you hope to stand up against them single-handed?" Monkey did not stop to argue, but strode forward, and folding his arms across his chest, bowed to the robbers and said, "Sirs, for what reason do you stop poor priests from going on their way?" "We are robber kings," they said, "mountain lords among the benevolent. Everyone knows us. How comes it that you are so ignorant? Hand over your things at once, and we will let you pass. But if half the word 'no' leaves your lips, we shall hack you to pieces and grind your bones to powder." "I too," said Monkey, "am a great hereditary king and lord of a mountain for hundreds of years, yet I have never heard your names." "In that case let us tell you," they said. "The first of us is called Eye that sees and delights, the second Ear that hears and is angry, the third Nose that smells and covets, the fourth Tongue that tastes and desires, the fifth Mind that conceives and lusts, the sixth body that supports and suffers. You're nothing but 6 hairy ruffians, said Monkey, laughing. We priests, I would have you know, are your lords and masters, yet you dare block our path. Bring out all the stolen goods you have about you, and divide them into 7 parts. Then, if you leave me 1 part, I will spare your lives. The robbers were so taken aback that they did not know whether to be angry or amused. You must be mad, they said. You've just lost all you possess, and you talk of sharing our booty with us. Brandishing their spears and flourishing their swords, they all rushed forward and began to rain blows upon Monkey's head, but he stood stock still and betrayed not the slightest concern. Priest, your head must be very hard, they cried. That's all right, said Monkey. I'm not in a hurry, but when your arms are tired, I'll take out my needle and do my turn. What does he mean? They said. Perhaps he's a doctor turned priest, but we are none of us ill. So why should he talk about using the needle? Monkey took his needle from behind his ear, recited a spell which changed it into a huge cudgel, and cried, Hold your ground, and let old Monkey try his hand upon you. The robbers fled in confusion, but in an instant he was among them, and striking right and left, he slew them all, stripping off their clothes and seized their baggage. Then he came back to Tripitaka and said, laughing, Master, we can start now. I have killed them all. I am very sorry to hear it, said Tripitaka. One has no right to kill robbers, however violent or wicked they may be. The most one may do is to bring them before a magistrate. It would have been quite enough in this case if you had driven them away. Why kill them? You have behaved with a cruelty that ill becomes one of your sacred calling. If I had not killed them, said Monkey, they would have killed you. A priest, said Tripitaka, should be ready to die rather than commit acts of violence. I don't mind telling you, said Monkey, that 500 years ago, when I was a king, I killed a pretty fair number of people. And if I had held your view, I should certainly have never become the great sage equal of heaven. It was because of your unfortunate performances in heaven, said Tripitaka, that you had to do penance for 500 years. If now that you have repented and become a priest, you go on behaving as in old days, you can't come with me to India. You've made a very bad start. The one thing Monkey had never been able to bear was to be scolded, and when Tripitaka began to lecture him like this, he flared up at once and cried, All right, I'll give up being a priest and won't go with you to India. You needn't go on at me any more. I'm off. Tripitaka did not answer. His silence enraged Monkey even further. He shook himself, and with the last, I'm off, he bounded away. When Tripitaka looked up, he had completely disappeared. It's no use trying to teach people like that, said Tripitaka to himself gloomily. I only said a word or two, and off he goes. Very well, then. Evidently it is not my fate to have a disciple, so I must get on as best I can without one. He collected the luggage, hoisted it on to the horse's back, and set off on foot, leading the horse with one hand and carrying his priest's staff with the other. In very low spirits, he had not gone far, when he saw an old woman carrying a brocaded coat and embroidered cap. As she came near, Tripitaka drew his horse to the side of the road to let her pass. Where are you off to alone? She asked. The Emperor of China has sent me to India to fetch scriptures, said Tripitaka. The temple of the great thunderclap, where Buddha lives, said she, is 101,000 leagues away. You surely don't expect to get there with only one horse and no disciple to wait upon you. I picked up a disciple a few days ago, said Tripitaka, but he behaved badly, and I was obliged to speak rather severely to him, whereupon he went off in a huff, and I have not seen him since. I've got a brocade coat and a cap with a metal band, said the old woman. They belonged to my son.